Now we have Jesse Hagopian up, and Jesse is with the Social Equality Educators.
How you doing today, y'all? Thanks everybody for coming out today. What a beautiful day to stand for justice. I'm so glad that we can be here today to support people that have done so much for our community. You know, I got a call from Michael on the evening of August 27th, actually early in the morning. And I was deeply worried to answer the call because at 2 or 3 in the morning, I knew it couldn't be good. And then when I heard his voice on the other line, I knew immediately the anguish, fighting back tears, as he explained how the police had threatened his life. He explained how they had cuffed him as if he was a criminal, his hands going numb. And as I was on that call, I broke down. I was crying because I was so fearful that I knew what could happen in those moments. I knew that I could have lost a friend in the snap of a finger, in the pulling of a trigger. I would have lost a dear friend. I knew that we all would have lost a great champion, right? We all would have lost a great champion for human rights, a champion for women's rights, a champion for Palestinian rights, a champion for LGBTQ rights, a champion for our communities here in Seattle. That's why we're all out here today. It's not because of all of his incredible football exploits, but it's because he's actually been down and walks amongst us and been there to support our youth and been there to support our most vulnerable. And you know, the Vegas police hoped dearly that the old Vegas PR slogan would hold true in this situation, right? They hope that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but they don't know Michael Bennett, right? If you know Michael Bennett, you know he speaks his mind every single time he gets a chance. You've heard him. You heard him say that after Denzel Washington, he's the most handsome black man there is, right? Or that, what did he say about Marshawn Lynch's run, Beastquake 2.0? Not since the Underground Railroad has a black person ran like that, right? So if you know Michael Bennett, you know he's going to speak his mind, and that's exactly what he did, right? And releasing that letter describing for the world what it was like to be humiliated, what it was like to be brutalized by the police, and not just explain his circumstances, but link it with a movement, right? He said, I know what Michael Brown felt like in his last moments. I know what Charlena Lyles felt like in her last moments, right? And to say I stand with that movement is so powerful. But we're not just here today to talk about what happened with the Vegas police, because you don't have to be in Sin City to know that there are sinners amongst those who are supposed to protect us, right? You just heard from Charlena's cousin, Katrina, and what happened here in Seattle. We can talk about Cynthia Whitlatch, who profiled a 70-year-old black man walking down the street with his cane. He used a golf club and said, drop your weapon, and then arrested him, and he had to spend the night in jail for doing nothing but walking while black, right? And now you heard what happened to this officer, right? She got fired, but then she got rehired with the back pay. She got over $100,000, right, in back pay, right? This is the type of reform that the Seattle Police Department talks about. They have some cosmetic discussions about reform, and then they go right back to it. The officer who assaulted me with pepper spray on Martin Luther King Day in 2015 got absolutely no repercussions for that, and is walking around policing people today, right? So we know that the problem exists right here in Seattle, and that's why we're so proud of our brother Michael Bennett, who's standing up for all of us by sitting down during the national anthem. And we know that I don't want to hear another person ask why he's sitting, right? He had a gun put to his head and an officer threatened to blow his brains out, right? And we know why he's sitting for us. And I just want to end by saying that we love it when he sacks the quarterback. And I hope he does today and on into the future, because I know that if he's sitting during the anthem on the Super Bowl, it's going to reach a worldwide audience, right? But we also know that Michael's primary concern is sacking injustice, and we'll be right there with him every step of the way. Thank you.